Welcome. I'm visiting here today with Michael Beaudoin of Mark IV Capital. He's the Director of Private Equity, and welcome to today's show.
Thank you.
So, Michael, for the listeners here, can you give your background of what you did prior to coming into Mark IV?
So before Mark IV, I was in a general management program at AT&T, and where I managed different groups throughout the company. And as part of that, I helped develop what became AT&T's accelerator. So we started investing in early stage education technology companies.
Okay, and then Mark IV, what did you transition over? What was your primary incentive to join up here?
That's a great question. So, as I mentioned, part of a general management rotation program, that rotation was going to end. And I was having
Okay.
such a great time investing and working with energetic entrepreneurs that I wanted to continue to make that my career. So I left AT&T to continue staying in this, become a subject matter expert in investing in early stage companies.
Tell me about Mark IV. Do they have an expertise? How large is the fund? Are they mini funds or?
Yeah, we don't disclose the size of the fund. It's a boutique asset management firm that manages real estate assets and then venture capital and private equity.
Okay. And what's a typical deal size if you're funding it?
Yeah, we're typically writing checks between $500,000 and $2 million into early stage technology companies. And the way we look at our companies that have a technology that's going to measurably increase productivity at a Fortune 500 or government customer.
So, Michael, as you look at the world today, there's ever-changing technologies. Is there a particular technology that you want to gravitate towards moving into the investment arena?
AI, I know it's becoming a large buzzword everywhere, but if we really think about the way it is going to increase productivity and make workers be able to reduce the amount of mundane tasks they're doing, that's, of course, a big focus area. Continuing on the software and SaaS, so we're able to help companies, access these technologies without having to expend a lot of capex. But what makes our group a little bit unique, we'll still look at hardware because we understand that all these new machines are going to need, new hardware, new technologies, new silicon chips, and we'll also look at material science. So we think there's a large underinvestment today in material science. So we can find some great technologies that are, again, going to help companies or government make their processes more efficient.
When you're evaluating a company, at what stage do you want them to come to you? Do you want a seed stage company? Or do you want Series A? Do you want something even late stage?
It's a great question. So it keeps what's unique about our group is that we are able to ebb and flow across the stages. So right now we're really focused on Series A, so companies that have had somewhere between $1.5 to $2.5 million in annual revenues last year. But what's interesting is if we found a company that has great IP and it's coming right out of a university or other area that's helped develop that IP and go ahead and file the patents for it, we have the ability to flex down to a seed stage if we need to, or I'm participating in rounds as late as the Series C. So the key for me is really what's the growth trajectory of the company, but I would say 80 to 90% of our transactions are going to be in that Series A range.
How important is it for the entrepreneur that you invest with to be a seasoned entrepreneur?
That's a good question too. We say again, kind of going in the normal range is probably going to have an entrepreneur who's run a division at a large company, has had a previous company they built and ran, and been able to talk about their track record of success there. But we will step outside the norm and invest in maybe the grad student that it's helped incubate a technology in a lab at a university. We will take bets occasionally on first-time entrepreneurs, but I'd say it's more the exception than the norm.
Person that wants to contact you for having you look at a deal, how would they go about that?
One of the best ways is to, we want entrepreneurs to be resourceful. So by looking in the network and seeing where they can have some common introduction, but they're always able to send me an email at mbeaudoin@markiv.com. So if they can figure out my email address, there's a good chance they're resourceful as well.
Michael, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Been visiting here today with Michael Beaudoin and he's the Director of Private Equity at Mark IV Capital.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.